Human Rights Watch takes no position on claims to self-determination in Indonesia or in any other country. However, consistent with international law, we take a very strong position on the right of all individuals, including peaceful independence supporters, to express their political views peacefully without fear of arrest or other forms of reprisal. And we have long expressed concerns about ongoing abuses by the security forces in Papua and the lack of accountability for those abuses. Since 2007 alone, we have written 4 reports about abuses in Papua. There are copies here, and I would like to ask that they be made part of the record. Those detail abuses ranging from severe restrictions on the freedoms of expression, assembly, and association, to extrajudicial killings, torture, and rape. Many of those abuses were carried out by members of the security forces, including Brimob, Kostrad, and Kopassus. You asked the earlier witnesses about what they thought contributes to some of the frustrations of people in Papua, and I think it is imperative that we spend a few minutes talking about impunity. I think it is very difficult to get people to buy into any sort of governing regime when they feel that the terrible abuses that they have suffered will go uninvestigated, and that has very much been the case, not just in Papua, but across Indonesia. In July 2010, shortly after Secretary Gates left Jakarta, the TNI chief, Joko Santoso, was quoted saying that as far as the TNI is concerned, the issue of past human rights violations is over. As long as people are not prosecuted for human rights abuses, they are not over. Impunity itself is a human rights abuse. And while many people, either in Washington or in Jakarta, may want us to believe that the TNI or other security forces in Indonesia do not carry out abuses on the scale that they once did, the fact that there is near total impunity for abuses in the past and now, this is not in the past, this is now, is an extremely serious problem. I want to share with you just a few examples, both from Papua and elsewhere. The failures to investigate and prosecute, for example, the cases of civilians abused by Kopassus forces in Merauke in 2008 and 2009. The case of Yawan Wayeni in August 2009, who was taunted by members of the security forces as he lay dying. The cases of 13 activists who were disappeared in 1997 and 1998, and of course, the case of Munir, for which no one has ever really successfully been prosecuted. We have also documented extremely light sentences given to members of the military who were actually prosecuted and convicted for human rights abuses. We continue to see ongoing promotions or service within the military of people who are both credibly alleged and who've been convicted of human rights abuses. Here, I find it a little bit difficult to accept the characterization of the removal of TNI from politics when the new deputy defense minister is, in fact, a Kopassus officer who has a somewhat checkered past. We also see tremendous resistance to parliamentary oversight for impunity. We have not seen the kinds of commissions, the ad hoc court requested by the DPI to look into the disappearances of the students, nor have we seen movement on a bill that would give jurisdiction of the prosecution for abuses committed by members of the military of civilians into civilian courts. I think the argument often goes that somehow accountability and justice are inimical to peace. We couldn't disagree with that more, and in fact, my organization has done extensive research to show that accountability is crucial to long-term peace settlements and their stability. In that spirit, I would make the following recommendations, particularly to the Indonesian government, that it immediately and unconditionally release all of the persons who are held for peaceful expression of their political views, particularly those we've written about in Papua, to amend or repeal all articles and regulations that criminalize forms of expression, to promptly respond to credible reports of torture in custody. This is also a very serious problem we've written about in Papua, and to remove arbitrary restrictions on access to all regions of Papua. To the U.S. government, which we believe seriously undermined standards for military cooperation and accountability globally when it resumed ties to Kopassus, the U.S. should, first, recondition assistance to the Indonesian military and police on strict standards of accountability for current and past abuses. It should also push for the amendment or repeal of Indonesian laws that allow for the imprisonment of individuals for peaceful political expression and the release of those imprisoned. And last but not least, it should push for the passage of Indonesian laws that shift prosecution of soldiers who have abused civilians into civilian courts. Thank you.